feel, although there would have been a time before finding the Brahmakumaris in London, when I felt that I wanted to do something for the world. I didn't feel that I had any particular skills, didn't know what I could do, but I knew my life wasn't going to be a normal life. I knew it wasn't going to be about the marriage and the white picket fence and all of that. And it wasn't, I wanted something to do, but it wasn't about how much I was going to get paid for it or, you know, anything like that. And so then coming here, I found a means to be of service whilst investigating and understanding my own self. So there would almost seem to be an aspect of selfishness in it. Something someone said today that I like very much, and it's an old chestnut, and we all know it, that idea of think locally, act globally, but she was putting the locally in the context of one's own self. And so however your thinking is, however your consciousness is, it's almost like it is going to affect the whole, you know, in either good ways or bad ways. So my thinking is never so much about what am I doing for the world. I think all of us come to a point, even though that thought might be there, but you begin to realize that rather the people whom you are serving are actually serving you, in a manner of speaking, are serving your aspirations for yourself, that they are helping you almost more than you're helping them, in a sense. I'm remembering that line from Leonard Cohen, there's a crack in everything. That's where the light gets in. But something that I have come to understand, and I'm not sure everybody will be in agreement with me, but looking at each one as souls, and each one has a destiny, each one has a part to play, they're integral to the whole drama, if you like. And that at some level, when we get beyond this aspect of blaming, whether the other or the situation, them, the political party, even God, then we come to understand that we have also set a path for ourselves, and that we have also created the challenges, because part of the purpose, as I see it, is about getting back to the starting place. And in order to get back there, there's going to be, you know, like the pilgrim or somebody on an odyssey, there have to be those challenges, and they don't come accidentally. There is something in the wisdom of my soul that calls this situation into being. And what I need to understand is that if it has called it into being, I really do have, although I'm not consciously aware of it, the wherewithal to deal with it. And so that in dealing with it, first in facing it, and then hopefully moving through it, that I'm ready for the next challenge. But you can choose just to sit with that one forever. You know, that's the choice that we have, in the sense. When the challenges come, then, as I say, the natural tendency is to blame somebody else or something else. But when I take responsibility and say that I orchestrated this challenge, when I make it mine, then it's like it gives me power to be able to look at it, first of all, differently, rather than just rail at it for its inconvenience or its hazards or whatever else. To touch on this aspect of one thing that the world really needs now is vision. And that in part, I suppose, stayed with the Brahma Kumaris because of a vision that was transmitted. It was a world of nonviolence. And so not just the nonviolence that is the opposite of fighting and squabbling and what have you, but nonviolence that is love, that is respect, that is compassion, that is integrated with all of the best that is there in humanity. It's not only is it a vision in terms of the future, but no less important, it's a memory, a deep, deep memory within the soul. And so that idea again of getting back to where we started. And so I think this is the thing that many, many people, that they're catching the vision, but then how to give them, help them with the tools. And I'm seeing for myself that, you know, on the one hand, you are making your own, you have your own disciplines and your own practice, etc. But I also feel that I am moving along in the wake of those who are just ahead of me. Now, I'm not talking about people who've necessarily died, but I'm talking about other adherents to truth and love, etc. And so whatever they have done, they're in their boat, but they have created a wake that makes it a little bit easier for me too. And then there are all those, my equals, who are, I won't get to meet them. I don't know them. They're in all parts of the world and they're doing their work, etc. But it's now like a combined energy, and it's like a kind of a groundswell, if you like, that I feel will eventually take us, you know, over the line and into that world of non-violence and of peace. Daddy Janky would often respond, you know, well, if not us, then who? Little boy here a few weeks ago, and about 6 years old, and he was telling me that he's now in a gifted class at school. And he couldn't tell me what exactly that meant, but he knew he was in the gifted class. And of course, it wasn't that he had done anything. He just started school, more or less. But what was seen was the potential. And on the basis of that potential, those who were wiser than he, older than he, teachers, put him in that stream. And so I think it's a little bit the same in terms of the world at present. If you consider yourself, if you're here in the first place, you know, this is a very momentous time that we're in. And whether you see it in terms of it being auspicious or a disaster, you know, such as your consciousness, and that can shift from to where you can come over to the side of seeing it as auspicious. And so none of us necessarily come with any qualities, but every single one of us has potential. And my sense is that the universe, you can call it God if you like, it wouldn't necessarily be the word I would choose, but that it has faith in our potential, and that the destiny has to play out. Destiny has to fulfill itself. Creation has to fulfill itself. And so some look and they see an end, and others look and they see a beginning. And so, yes, of course, I do believe that it's in the hands of all of us. And it's as basic as deciding whether you're with the construction crew or the demolition crew, you know, because both are needed. You know, the old has to be totally dismantled in a kind of a way, to just like, again, you know, the shell has to crack in order for the little chick to emerge, for the new thing to emerge. And so, yes, that feeling of at the present time, that of the potential for each one of us to be a contributor, that you find that you have resources that you didn't know. And like Sister Janty was saying, that, you know, maybe when we first come to this and we hear about the possibility of this new era, that it's like a dream, you know, okay, somebody's dream, somebody's imagination, but gradually as you evolve, let me say, through spiritual study, meditation, good works, whatever, then there's something that happens within you in that the old consciousness is erased to some degree or softened, and that you find that you're coming closer to what actually is the vision, that it's not so far removed. And the thing that Sister Genty mentioned, which for me is so important, is this idea of equality. It's not that we're all the same, but this nature of, and that's why I think in part I associate myself with the essential teachings here, is that the philosophy, the way of seeing things, it suits me. It suits my idea and my aspirations for my own self. And I think for many, many more people now too. What when someone was asked, there's a book by this title, I've forgotten the rabbi's name, but why do, you know, and of course, coming from a Jewish perspective, the horrors, you know, of Nazi Germany and so on. And that's only one of the things that happened to them. But the question, why do bad things happen to good people? And the very simple answer was so that they could be better, you know. And so in the same way that for Sister Genty, that experience for me too, it was God came to me, you know, just by my indulging in meditation and putting myself in that situation. And the essential experience was of bliss. And yes, that changed everything because it was beyond my thoughts for myself, could never have imagined it. But then over the years, and it continues, it has been about this coming to know God. And not only knowing God in terms of who he, she is, but also no less importantly, knowing what God is not. And so then you don't have expectations because you know this is not the domain of God. This is not the business of God, not the role of God. And so you can't be disappointed or say, well, why did he let this happen? Or why did he let that happen? It is absolutely unfolding, knowing that a part of God is the dispassionate observer, if you like, but even whilst being that is constantly with great love teaching us, demonstrating to us how we can, you know, grow, uplift ourselves and others, even to the point where, you know what one of the amazing visions is for that new place, that it's almost like as if that divine energy will have done such a marvelous job on bringing the human children into that experience of their divinity, that he can exit stage left for a period of time. In other words, that we come into the fullness of our own divinity, which is what any parent would want for their child, for them to be in the fullness of their happiness and their capacity and their well-being. Before speaking to someone else, even on these big topics, I should speak to myself. Meditation. It's a longing, and it's an ever-present invitation. And the invitation is coming from both a memory and an aspiration. I want that portal into another realm, another way of seeing. And I understand that the key is a thought. And the thought comes in the form of a question. Who am I? And now I flip the question and simply emerge the thought. I am. And I sit just with that. I am. And the habit is to fill in the blank. And thoughts emerge as if in little bubbles. I'm stressed. I'm a mother. I'm exhausted. I am worried. I am the boss. And sitting with the I am, I watch each bubble pop. Intuitively knowing none of those are the answer. And as each of those thoughts disappear, I feel more aligned with who I am. I'm breathing easier. And there's now space. I can hear my deeper self. And it's simply telling me I am sufficient. I am enough. And accepting that, the light comes through. And I rest here, silently, in stillness. I am.